Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking on a subject that really requires a look at the hard science, but also a deep sense of compassion.
It really does. We're talking about recovery from compulsive behaviors, specifically around digital content.
And so many people see this as a battle of willpower, right? Just this constant, exhausting fight.
Exactly. But what we're exploring today is, well, a more effective and, frankly, more compassionate path. The mission here is to move beyond that idea of fleeting motivation.
And get into the science.
Yes, the science of long-term freedom. It's all about consistent daily habits.
Okay, let's start right there with the science, because I think understanding the mechanism helps lift some of that moral weight.
It does. The core concept, and this is so important to grasp, is that addiction isn't a moral failing.
Or a simple lack of self-control.
Not at all. It's a physical pathway in your brain, a pathway that's been strengthened repeatedly by a specific action.
And the key to changing that, then, is something called neuroplasticity.
It's the brain's most amazing feature, really. Its ability to physically change, to rewire itself. By consistently choosing a new behavior, you are literally weakening those old addiction pathways.
Through disuse.
Through disuse. And you're building new, stronger, healthier circuits in their place. It's a physical rewiring project.
Now, what makes this particular challenge so difficult is something our sources call the supernormal stimulus. I found this concept just mind-blowing.
It's crucial to understand. Think about what modern high-speed internet provides. It's a rush of novelty and intensity that's, well, it's far beyond what real life can offer.
An artificial level.
Completely. And when the brain is flooded with that much dopamine that fast, it doesn't just enjoy it. It goes into a kind of self-protection mode.
Which is where downregulation comes in.
Precisely. The brain physically starts removing its own dopamine receptors. That's downregulation. It's trying to cope.
And the result for the person is feeling numb.
Numb, unmotivated. The normal joys of life don't register anymore. And you find you need more and more extreme content just to feel, normal.
So recovery is about giving the brain time to reverse that, to upregulate.
To heal itself and restore that natural sensitivity. That's the goal.
It sounds like a long process.
Yeah.
But is there actual measurable proof that these small daily habits can really change the brain's structure?
There is, and this is where it gets really hopeful. A 2018 study looked at people who kept up with daily recovery practices for 90 days or more.
And what did they find?
They found significant measurable reductions in activity in the frontoparietal network.
Okay, for most of us, what does that mean in simple terms?
It means they saw less activity in the brain's main craving circuit, the part that plans and obsesses about seeking out the substance.
Wow.
So it shows that it's the steady, daily rewiring, not just these heroic bursts of willpower that creates lasting physical change. You are literally making craving a less powerful event in your brain.
So if daily action is the solution, we have to look at what gets in the way, what derails people.
And that brings us to the real foundation of the problem, which is often missed. It's the internal state.
You mean shame?
Exactly. The source material calls toxic shame the core and fuel of all addiction. We can't talk about recovery without talking about shame.
Can you break down the difference between, say, healthy guilt and this toxic shame? They can feel similar.
But they are worlds apart. Healthy guilt is about a behavior. It's the feeling, I did something bad, which motivates you to repair things.
Like to fix it.
But toxic shame is about who you are. It's that deep, painful feeling of, I am bad, I'm flawed and defective as a human being.
And if you believe you're fundamentally broken, repair seems impossible.
It forecloses it. That flawed identity then fuels what's often called the squirrel cage, this belief that no one could love me as I am, which drives the obsession, the acting out, and then
more shame.
More shame. It just restarts the whole devastating cycle. It's a trap.
So if the addiction thrives in that darkness, in that isolation,
then the antidote has to be connection. It has to be bringing it into the light. Recovery flourishes in connection.
Which brings up urges. Because they feel like they come out of nowhere, they push you back into isolation.
They rarely do come out of nowhere. Often, an urge is just a disguised attempt to escape an uncomfortable feeling.
That's where that HALT acronym comes in, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yes. You have to ask yourself, is this really a sexual need, or am I just trying to numb the feeling of being lonely, or angry, or stressed? If you're lonely, the urge isn't about sex. It's an attempt to escape that pain. Address the real need, not the symptom.
Okay, so that's the context, the brain science and the emotional fuel. Let's get into the practical side. the habits.
Right. We have about 11 key habits here, but the sources are clear. Start small, pick maybe 3. We can group them into mind, body, and environment.
Let's start with the mind, building what you call the brake pedal.
The first habit is a morning mindfulness practice, even just 5 minutes of focused breathing. It's not mystical. It physically strengthens your prefrontal cortex,
Your impulse control center.
your impulse control and decision-making center. It literally installs a little pause button between a trigger and your automatic response.
And once you have that pause,
You can use a strategy like urge surfing. Most people try to fight an urge, which just makes it stronger.
so what does surfing it look like?
You just acknowledge it. You don't judge it. You get curious. How does it feel in my body? Is my chest tight? Is my heart racing? And then you just wait.
Like a wave.
Exactly like a wave. You watch it build, peak, and if you don't engage, it will crash and recede on its own. Most urges pass in about 10 to 15 minutes if you just ride them out.
That's a huge shift. Okay, from mind to body, you mentioned some heavy hitters for resetting our neurochemistry, starting with cold exposure.
Yes, this one is powerful. A quick cold shower is more than just a shock to the system. A 2008 study showed it can boost natural dopamine production by up to 250%.
So it gives you a healthy dopamine hit that satisfies the craving,
It does, and it's a fantastic pattern interrupt. But there's another skill you're learning.
which is
The skill of controlling your breath and staying calm during that intense shock. That ability to regulate your nervous system under stress is the exact same skill you need when an intense urge hits. You're practicing for the real thing.
And then there's exercise, which the sources say is basically non-negotiable.
Because it releases something called BDNF, which is like fertilizer for your brain. It helps build those new healthy neural pathways we talked about.
The rewiring.
The rewiring. And you should be strategic. If you always relapse around 9 p.m., that's when you need to be exercising. Use that healthy dopamine as a shield.
Okay, and one that sounds almost too simple, hydration.
Yes, really. It's foundational. Even mild dehydration impairs your executive functions, like impulse control. Your brain literally can't say no as well when it's thirsty. A simple fix. Drink a big glass of water first thing when you wake up.
It sets the stage for the day.
It sets the cognitive stage, absolutely.
All right, finally, let's talk about environment. Creating what you call digital friction.
You have to stop relying on willpower, especially when it's low. You need to create barriers. The sources strongly recommend device-free zones,
Specifically, the bedroom and the bathroom.
which are the 2 most common relapse locations. Charge your phone outside the bedroom, period. Nothing good happens on a phone in bed at 1 in the morning.
And the digital sunset habit fits right in with that.
It does. Power down all screens 1 to 2 hours before bed. Your willpower is at its lowest in the evening. Don't test it. Switch to a physical book. Talk with your partner. Journal. Protect those high-risk hours.
That's an amazing toolkit.
Yeah.
But let's connect it back to the bigger picture. The most powerful habit might not be an action, but an identity.
Yes. This is the identity statement review. So often, recovery feels like restriction, like you're becoming smaller. True freedom is about expansion.
How does a simple statement help with that?
By reviewing it daily, you reinforce who you are becoming, not who you have been. Something like, I am a free man who prioritizes health and connection.
Instead of, I'm an addict trying to quit.
Exactly. It activates something called the self-verification bias. Your brain naturally starts steering your behavior to match the person you believe you are. You start making your old habit irrelevant to your new identity.
That's so powerful. And for anyone starting out, understanding the typical timeline is crucial to avoid panic.
It's so important. Recovery is not a straight line. The first week is usually withdrawal, intense cravings, but then comes something that derails a lot of people. The flat line.
This is weeks 2 to 6, when libido can just disappear and people feel broken.
They feel broken, and they panic and relapse to test if everything is still working. But you have to know this. The flat line is a sign of healing.
It means the brain is recalibrating.
It's your brain upregulating those dopamine receptors. It is proof that the deep neurobiological repair is happening. You have to trust the process and push through to about the 90-day mark. That's when the reboot often begins.
And finally, we have to talk about relapse. Because it happens.
It does. The goal is to avoid what's called the what the hell effect, where one slip turns into a massive binge. A slip isn't a failure, it's data.
So you switch from shame to analysis.
Instantly. You practice self-compassion, which means dropping the judgment and grabbing a notebook. What was the trigger? Was I tired, stressed? What app was I on? You analyze the data, you adjust the plan, and you get right back on track.
So to bring this all together, freedom isn't about one grand gesture.
No, it's the accumulated compounding effect of these small, consistent choices made every single day. These actions make recovery over time inevitable.
Because it's not just about the behavior.
It's about addressing the underlying shame and rebuilding your identity. If toxic shame is rooted in believing you are flawed, then healing starts by internalizing a new truth. You are not broken. You simply have a very efficient brain that was running a very unhelpful strategy.
So the final thought for our listener is,
What single, small, consistent action can you take today, right now? Maybe it's just drinking a glass of water or deciding to leave your phone outside your bedroom tonight. What one action can you take to start dismantling that old belief and building a new, stronger identity? Remember, you can rebuild your mind.
a powerful place to start. Thank you for guiding us through this today. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.